Hello, you're listening to She's the Business podcast, and today we're talking about the must-have strategy for coaches, consultants, and experts. Stay tuned, it's coming right up. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, a marketing strategist, degree qualified business expert with over 25 years experience building brands and businesses all over the globe. I now help women who are ready to stop dabbling in their business and actually step into their true expertise, step into their zone of genius, and become the sought after expert with a wait list. I'm all about the strategies and how to make your business work for you so that you're not working for it. I started this podcast to bring to you a range of experts, women from all over the globe who really know their stuff, so that you've got a mix of proven strategies, mindset shifts, health, wealth, wellness, and even spirituality and energetics. Really all the things that can help you be successful as the leader of your own business. So call this your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration made by women for women. Now, today's episode, the must-have strategy that you really need to have. I've been teaching this for over 8 years, actually coming up 9 years now, but this is a core strategy that I've really been using throughout my entire marketing career ever since the first job in 1997. Started to learn why this is so essential. And I noticed over the years, the businesses that really lent into this, who focused on it, who did it properly, were the ones that experienced the highest growth. And that is no different today than it was back then. Why? Because it's a core principle of doing business. Every business needs marketing. It's how you get clients. But what I'm talking about is an aspect of marketing. Most people think marketing strategy is all about the actions that you're doing. That we need to get out there, we need to put our stuff on social media and create a brand and email people and whatever, you turning into, whoever you're listening to, they'll all have different opinions on what activities you need to be doing to market your business. But what I'm talking about is the core step you need to do before that. Yes, no joke. Before all of that, so that the marketing activities you do, i.e. the tactics, actually work. Because the thing is that they all work, every single one of them, even your most outdated ones that you might think of, like outdoor advertising, billboard advertising, email marketing. It's been around for donkey's years. Yes, they all work equally as well. And some would argue even better. I know that there are many people who still talk about those email marketing statistics, and data shows it's one of the most effective methods of creating sales, even today. Even when people think they're sick of emails, it is still very, very high converting, and often higher than the flashy, shiny, fun stuff that we see on social media. So it's obviously much newer. Social media has really only been around, well, it's less than 20 years. I remember when Facebook first launched onto the scene, it was a personal tool. Businesses really didn't start using it until we were well past 2010. And even then, very few back then in 2010. It gained a lot more. So in the last, let's say 15 years, it's become more of a tool for businesses. However, they all work. So what am I talking about? Well, you must have a strategy. We have to start at the beginning. And this is really the most important thing for anyone to grasp. If you own a business, you cannot outsource this part of your marketing. This is not for someone else to decide for you. This is for you to decide, because it's your business. You're the leader. What are you telling your marketing agency if you're going to outsource? Or what are you telling them that you're doing? What's the strategy? Where are we heading? What's the direction? The first thing that they all want to know, and I'm talking every single one of them needs this piece of information so they can do their job for you, is, well, who is it? What is it that you're being? Where are you positioning in the market? I.e., what is it that your business does, or that you do if you're the main person in your business as well? If you're an expert, a coach, a consultant, maybe it's really closely tied to you. What is it exactly that you do, and for whom? Now, I know this might sound super simple and basic, and when I say that, you think, well, of course I know what that is. Most people do know. Most business owners know what they do and who they do it for, yet the vast majority cannot articulate it very clearly, i.e., they might know in their head what they can do. And usually the problem I notice most people are struggling with is that they want to help lots of people with it. So think about this for a minute. If you're somebody with a lot of expertise in a certain area, maybe it is in nutrition, you might see people everywhere who could really use your advice, your help and assistance so that they can thrive, right? You're like, wow, solve this problem with your nutrition and I can help you thrive. And you probably see people everywhere that you can help. And that's really the core of the problem, because when you are trying to speak to all these people you can help, then your message is so diluted that it becomes something that's very ignorable. What has happened, and the change that's happened and is still happening more and more and more, it's getting more crucial to do this. The general population is realizing that there is no one size fits all, that we are all different. And the reason why we're knowing this and noticing it is because the stuff we've been told for years and years and years, like the general bog standard nutrition advice, the general exercise advice that comes out, everybody should be doing this. We do, and then we start noticing, well, hey, it actually isn't working the same for me as it is for that person, and this isn't the same. And, there's the food pyramid, and then it's like, well, I can't eat the food pyramid because I've got sensitivities to gluten or to dairy or whatever else your sensitivities may be. Or maybe there's food choices because you might choose to be vegan or vegetarian. So the standard, bog standard advice that everyone is given just doesn't fit. It doesn't work for you. And we've seen this in every aspect of life. The easy ones that we can all relate to, obviously, are nutrition, exercise. The same fitness program is not going to work the same for a 20-year-old male as it works for a 50-year-old female. That is just nonsense. We cannot pick one size fits all and say, here you go, this is all you need to do. Go forth, humans, everyone can thrive. No, it needs to be tailored. There's so much, and we know that. People are knowing it. They're knowing that it's not the same. We need to find the best, most relevant solution for us, for ourselves. And this is no different if you're in the business of helping people with their businesses, with marketing, for example. This marketing advice and strategies for an e-commerce business are not the same as the best marketing and advice for services businesses. And I'm still being really, really broad there, even within those categories. A new e-commerce business needs different strategies to a very well-established e-commerce business. A brand new service, coach, consultant, you are doing different things with different strategies to launch your business, to start to establish yourself, than a business who's already established. Even if you're established, you've been working for 10, 20 years in your field, maybe your business is still very small, very intimate. It's a different strategy to a business that's been going a similar amount of time for you, but has a much larger scope and audience. Okay. We know this. You already know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. So that is really the key. It kind of proves the point. When it's not the same, we can't treat everyone the same. Therefore, you can't treat your audience like they're all the same as well. Go, hey, I can help everyone. Well, yeah, you might be able to, but you're not going to help them all in the same way. The advice I give to someone starting out with their marketing is quite different to the advice I give someone who is very well established. We look at different factors. We implement different things. But the one thing that everybody needs to know and do, and this is the same whether you're starting out or whether you've been in business for 20 years, is your specific area of the market. What is your position? What is your expert zone? And how are people going to know whether it's relevant for them? Well, only when you are super specific about it. So this is not about thinking, who are all the people I can help, and trying to amalgamate them into some broad niche scope that then you're going to target. Well, that's not a target. That's like the population, right? No doubt. I mean, I know I could go to any business and I could help them with their marketing to some degree. I may not be the best person for it. I haven't spent a long time in e-commerce. I did have an e-commerce business myself for a short period of time. I understand a lot about it. I can definitely help them with core principles of marketing. I can help a lot of them to succeed, but there's a whole raft that I'm not going to be the best person for. Why? Because it's not my area of expertise. That is not what I've mastered. That's not what I've spent the majority of my career in. Same goes for you. You may be able to help many people, but there will be some that you can help far more, far better than others. And that means you can help them better than someone else who's got similar skills and expertise, similar maybe qualifications or similar background to you, but they're going to have a different take on it. They're going to have different person who's their most ideal fit, the most relevant. And as a buyer, we're all looking for the person who is going to be the one who can help us best, because we have choice. You know, there's a million different business coaches out there. There are hundreds of people coaching people in marketing. There are hundreds of copywriters, website designers. There are nutritionists, dietitians, mindset experts. We've got choice. There is no such thing as the one person anymore, but you can be the one person. You can be a sought after expert if you define your space more specifically, because all of a sudden it gets rid of, it eliminates competition. When you specialize, you become more magnetic for the people that you're really trying to attract. And you also eliminate a whole lot of competition that are out there in the broader scope. Because you've become more specialized, you're suddenly very relevant. And that obviously makes you far more desirable and much more the obvious choice. And that's really, when you think about it, that's what you're all trying to be, the obvious choice for someone. The obvious choice is not the person with a package that includes all of these things. And this has been, I think, traditionally the way a lot of people have tried to differentiate. They've tried to be the one that people choose by having, you know, the best deal, the lowest price, or wow, I include 20 billion different bonuses in my package, so therefore I must be the best value, and that's why people will choose me. Wrong. It's really, and I see this happen. People have tried that. You may have tried it, maybe you've seen it, maybe you've experienced it before and got caught up by a program that had so many bonuses. And then once you got in there, how many of them did you actually use? Well, I'm probably thinking very, very few. And so what happens, and what people have started to realize is, hey, I actually don't need the program with the 20 billion bonuses. That doesn't make it the best value. I actually need the person who's got the program, the system, but more importantly, it's not about the program. It's like their expertise. What they're going to teach me is the most relevant for me and my business or my body or my health or my life, right? That is what people are looking for. They don't want the overwhelm. They actually don't want tons of content that they're never going to use, because it's like, I'm never going to use the 20 billion bonuses. So now I'm not interested in trying to get that anymore. It's not about the more stuff for my money. Like, I think that was a very much 2010 mentality, you know, like bigger is better, more and more. And, you know, we were sort of cultured into that. We were trained to think that way by those big fast food brands. You know, they were like, you know, upsize, you know, get more for your money. That whole value bargain deal thing, I think, was this huge marketing sort of shift that the food industry definitely went big on. And it's interesting now, because think about you know, if we sidetrack into the food industry for a moment, because I know that you're all familiar with it, the fast food brands went for that value, like, well, upsize and more is better, and bigger. And also the cheaper restaurants, right? Like, pay one price and get this giant buffet is all you can eat. But the prestige restaurants, what do? Do they give you a giant meal? I know you pay more, so the food quality is higher, but do you get a giant meal? Just think about it. Have you ever been to one of these restaurants? Well, I have. I've been to some of the top restaurants in London and Europe, Paris, and you get very small portions. It's not about the quantity of food. That is not how people are rating these restaurants. It is absolutely on taste, flavor, and quality of the ingredients. It's the experience that you get when you attend that restaurant. That is what you're paying for. Hey, do you know the main difference between the top coaches, thought leaders, and experts and everyone else? Well, maybe we could ask the question, like, how did they become the sought after expert in their area? Well, let me tell you, it's not big advertising budgets. It's not some secret funnel or social media hack that they're doing that no one else knows about. And it's not a big audience or doing PR. Yes, they may do those things. They might have a big budget now and a big audience and have PR, but that's not the reason why they became the sought after expert. What they did that no one else has done to that same level is that they got laser focused on their area of specialization. They got radically clear about it. They became bold. They claimed their space and they stood in it. They talked about it. They didn't try to go broad. They didn't try to serve all of the people. And even though you may look at them now and think, but they do now, they didn't when they started, when they began, when they first got to their first 100K, 200K, even probably 1 million, they were laser focused in one area. So if you're tired of being just another voice in the crowd, another person who's struggling to be seen and heard because, let's face it, it's crowded out there, then the best thing that you can do for your business is to zone in on your area of expertise. What makes you unique, special? What is the difference that you bring that can make you stand apart from others? And it's not in your service offering, by the way. That's where a lot of people try to do it. They try to just offer something different. That's not it, because it turns into a pricing decision in that case. I'm talking about your positioning in the market. If you're not positioned as the go-to expert, then you'll never be seen as the go-to expert. You'll never become the sought-after expert who has a wait list full of people lining up to work with you. So how do you do it? What is that? Well, I've developed a framework that has helped so many coaches, consultants, and service providers who've come into my world to create their own category, to literally create a space in their niche where they stand out, where they shine. And I've now made it available to you as a standalone program. It's literally just 7 days. I call it the Niche Buster because this is where you come in and by the end of just 7 days, you have your breakthrough niche, meaning this is the niche that is the perfect fit for you, perfect fit for where you want to be with your business in the market and for your own ideal clients. There is no carbon copy of anyone else going on. This is literally the one that has been custom made, tailored for you and your business. Right now, I'm offering you a crazy 75% off that program, but it's not for long. It's only literally going to close really soon. So jump over to the link in the show notes here. Scroll down, click on the link for the Niche Buster program. Go through, claim that 75%, and then you can enroll. You will have access to this. This is a lifetime access program, but I encourage you not to wait a lifetime before you do it. It's only 7 days. It is so short. One little piece each day. You can fit it in and around your busy schedule. It's been designed that way so that you can get it in, get it done, and within 1 week from now, if you do this right now, in a week's time, you're going to be in a totally different zone for your business. How exciting is that? Let's get into it, get started, and I can't wait to hear how you get on. And now let's get back to the episode. Not for a giant pile of chips, hot chips, French fries, whatever you want to call it, and a giant chicken parmigiana. That's not the deal, right? That's not what people are going, wow, I got an even bigger chicken schnitzel than I did at that other place. Like, that's not now what people are thinking that's good. They're thinking, yeah, I don't actually need all of that. I couldn't eat all the food, and then I felt gross afterwards because I ate too much. No, we want better quality. Well, at least the majority of people, the ones who you will want to work for you, with you, choose you and say, well, I want you to be my coach, guide, consultant, advisor. They're looking for the person who's going to give them the best quality. They don't want to feel yuck afterwards. They don't want the awkward, like, ugh, there was too much, right? So they don't want the packages that have got zillions of bonuses that they can't finish, that they can't do, that there's no time for, and maybe aren't even that relevant. Like, we want to have less, but we want it to be really good. We want this to be like, I want to spend less time doing it, but I want a great result. I want something that's punchy. I want to experience some really good result. And if you're in the business space, that means growth in your business. It means, wow, I've got these clients coming in and I actually did a ton of work less than what I was doing last year, and look at the result I'm having. That's what people really want. So they know by now, and they've learned this. They're learning it. There may be some people still learning it, but I think there's a huge amount of people out there in the market who have learnt that it's not about more. It's not about the person who stuffed their things full of everything and that they help all these different types of people. They're like, no, I actually want the person who really hones in, specializes, they understand my business and or my life or my health, my situation. So I don't want just a personal trainer who has programs for women. I want the personal trainer who has programs for perimenopausal women, specifically with my age group, who are also wanting the same goals. They can help me with the goals I want, not every menopausal woman or perimenopausal woman out there. Like, we're becoming far more discerning. And if you're not waking up to this yet, if you think about yourself. Are you more discerning as a buyer? If the answer is yes, so are your people. They are far more discerning. So the number one must-have strategy for you, for anyone who's wanting to see growth in your business, is to be more specific. And the big thing that we need to learn, the big lesson, the shift, is that getting more specific doesn't mean less clients. It actually means that you'll attract more clients. I love to teach, and I talk about this a lot inside my program, the magnetic energy. Now, a lot of people think, magnetic, blah, 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 it's a buzzword, but it is really a great way to describe the energetic field that happens when you specialize. So the more specialized you are, the more you'll be repelling the wrong people. But that also means that the stronger attraction you have for the right people. Now, why would you be worried about repelling people who aren't the right fit for you? There is no concern about that. And this is the fear people have, is like, well, I do want to attract people. I want to attract people who are the right fit, and I want to attract more of them. Great. Well, then you need to get very comfortable with repelling people who are not the right fit. And that is a great thing, because the stronger the negative field, the push away, then it also means the stronger the pull is. And if you're not experiencing either push or pull at the moment, that means that you're being very bland, very broad, and you're not repelling, but it also means you're not attracting. So think about that for a minute. How willing are you to repel? Have you been trying to avoid repelling? Because if you have been, then that's why you're also not attracting. The way that you attract is by creating a reason for people to not choose you, who are not the right fit for you, which means that the opposite is also true. Those who are the right fit for you can see it because you're specific. So that is your number one strategy. Now, as you may know, and you can tell probably from the way I'm talking about this, I've been teaching this for a very long time. It is the first part. I love strategic frameworks. I use them for my own business, and the same ones are what I teach my clients to use. And this one piece of the strategy is one part. This is, as I said, the first most essential piece to bed down before you begin on any of the other parts of your marketing strategy. Before you try to figure out your brand, before you try to figure out your messaging or your offers, like, you have to know what it is that you're doing and for whom. Otherwise, you can't create an offer. And if you've tried to, then that might be why your offer isn't selling very well, because I'm guaranteed there's going to be a lack of alignment there, a disconnect going on. So this is the number one piece. Please hear me on this. If you've been listening to the podcast a while, you may have heard me talk about it before. I will say it again. I'm going to say it 100 more times, as many times as needed, so that you really take it in and think, well, maybe today's the day I'm going to listen. If you've been finding business hard, it's not because you're probably doing it wrong, or that you need a new secret funnel, or you need a different hack. There's all sorts of random stuff out there. The bro marketers lately are saying things like, get them to buy from you without proof. It's like, ick. You need to have some kind of presence and expertise, something you're passionate about, something that you know that is your specialization. That's why people will be attracted to you. They get attracted to you because you've mastered it, and they see that you can help them with that piece. It's not about anything else. So let's not get attracted to the shiny objects and the totally unreasonable promises. I saw a prominent female expert and coach who was promising that people could nail a whole part of their strategy in, I think it was in 90 minutes. And I'm like, well, I know, because I teach that stuff. It takes weeks, if not a couple of months, really, to do everything she was promising. And so it's totally unreasonable to tell someone or even promise to someone that they could do it in 90 minutes. Like, how ludicrous. Please, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, so that is what I teach inside Business Jam, my program. Number one part of the strategy, the framework, is to find your breakthrough niche, your expert zone that you can be known for, so that you can become the sought after expert. Once you have that, you can amplify your expert zone, amplify that with things like PR, with your marketing. You will suddenly become known because there's something to know you for. If you don't have something that you can be known for, then people aren't going to know you. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, there's that person, Sarah, and I think she helps businesses. And they're probably going to be vague on what it is. You need to set the tone. You need to set the message and the clarity, and everything becomes so much easier when you're specific. It's just been seen time and time again. My clients have proven this to themselves and to everybody else time and time again. When they come through the program, they're like, oh, now I see. I was wasting so much time before because I wasn't clear enough. I wasn't specific enough. So it really does take you to make a bold move and get radical with it. Go, you know what? It might feel scary. It might feel like I'm leaving opportunity on the table if I am going to not exclude these people, but if I'm going to target a more specific group. It might feel like you're leaving opportunity out there, but to be honest, you're not. Because when you create your target zone, there'll be more than enough in that than you could ever hope to serve, right? We get so focused on what we're missing out on. I think people forget to look at the absolute depth and scope of what you can work with when you do get clear and specific. So if you would like help with this, I happen to have taken that particular part of my framework, which has a framework of its own, because, I'm the person that loves frameworks. It means that when you use a framework, you can take it and you can apply it to your own situation. So you're not being given like a cookie cutter, already set strategy or example. It's like you take the framework, and then that framework shows you how to apply it to your own business so that it's a right fit for you, so it works for you. And you end up with the business you want, not a carbon copy of someone else's, right? So I always love to develop and use frameworks in how I coach and teach so that you're getting the best fit for you. So this framework for the expert zone, I've put inside a program I called the Niche Buster. It's literally a short express course. It takes no more than 7 days. I've broken it down into 7 little micro steps. So you do one tiny piece each day. By the end of the week, you have your very clear, very specific expert zone that will set you apart from others in your niche and help you become the sought after expert. Help you become the person who then you can go on to develop that offer. You may already have an offer, but it's like, do those tweaks to align it to your expert zone. So it's the obvious thing that people need that they'll just line up for. It becomes irresistible. It is the thing that they want to buy from you. They want to work with you on. And that alignment becomes possible when you're clear. It's very hard to create the right offer when you don't have your expertise and your ideal client like really specifically designed and also uniquely designed for you. Okay, there's no point copying someone else because you're just muddying the waters and playing in the same dirty pond. Why would you want to do that? I don't know. So right now, I want to give you, the listeners of She's the Business podcast, an opportunity to come into my Niche Buster program with 75% off instead of $444 that it normally costs. And I think that's very underpriced. My clients who've been through it tell me it is worth thousands, and it has made shifts for them in their business that have been worth thousands almost straight away. I priced it only at $444. Why? Because I decided I'd make it more accessible. And it's very, very well, reasonably priced there as this program. But right now you can get it for just $111. If you click the link below in the show notes for the Niche Buster, it's called a challenge. Why? Because I'm challenging you to get in, do it now, start now, and in 7 days you're going to have your expert zone so well defined, you'll be like, why didn't I do this sooner? That's the challenge. I'm just challenging you to do it, to actually go through this slightly uncomfortable process where you're going to get more specific than you've ever been before. That's your challenge. I would love to see you do it. So you can get it for just $111. Click the link. There's an opportunity there to claim that discount, like opt in so that you get it. Then sign up and you've got that program. Now, whether you start it today, whether you start it next week, it doesn't really matter. Of course, it's up to you to fit it in at that point, but I want you to, once you start, to actually get in and start and do it. Don't leave it. Don't say, well, I'll buy this now and I'll do it later, because you, as well as I know, that later becomes never. If you don't take action when the iron is hot, when you don't strike while the iron's hot, then you lose momentum, your focus shifts, you're focusing on something else. No doubt you'll try to implement some sort of, amazing secret funnel someone's created and then wonder why it's not working. Well, this is why, because you need this piece first. It's like trying to build a house without laying your foundations. It would just fall down. You can use the best building materials. You can have all of the blueprint for an amazing house. If you haven't laid a foundation, it's not going to stand up for very long. It will fall down. And that's what happens over and over again. Same thing in your business. So please hear me on this. I'm not saying it for any other reason than I really want to help you. It is so crucial. Doesn't matter what sort of business you're in. If you don't have a strong positioning in the market, then you're really nowhere. Where are you? No one can find you. No one can find you if you don't know where you are. Create that positioning and no one else can do it for you. This is something you have to do for your own business. This isn't an outsourceable part of it, because what it requires, what you actually do when you go through this process with me, is we go deep into your understanding of what it is that you're on this earth, this planet to do, what your business is here for. No one sets that direction except you. Okay, this is the reason why you got into business in the first place. We're going to unpack all of that. We're going to peel the layers back, get to the core of it, really figure out for you what that looks like, and then you're going to be able to go forward and implement it into your business. Suddenly, your messaging is clear. Suddenly, you know the exact offer that you need to provide, okay? And it may be something you've already got, but more than likely, you will tweak it because you're like, now I can see how this aligns, right? And when you do, then that's when you're going to see the results happening. Because when things are disconnected, when they're vague, when you're not positioned anywhere, when you're just sort of out there randomly trying to find people to work with you, that's when it's hard. Why would you want to make life harder for yourself? I'm all about making it easier, make it more efficient, more fun. Business is way more fun when it's working. And trust me, you want it to be the right fit for you. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off. I hope you're in She's the Business community. If you've got questions about this episode or any episode that you've heard, we're in there chatting about it. I've got the guests are in She's the Business community. We're having discussions. I'm, sharing with you some great free resources from them, from myself as well, stuff that you may not be able to get anywhere else. I know many of my guests have created a resource especially for She's the Business podcast listeners. So this is the place to be. It's really a conversation space. I encourage you to join in the conversation. If you've got a question about what you heard me talk about today, I'd love you to ask, challenge me on it. Say, well, I tried this or I did that and this is what happened, or it didn't work, or I heard something else. Somebody else said blah, blah, blah. I've heard actually, just on that point, I've heard a very well-known coach say it's not important to know your niche, just get it done in 5 seconds and get out there and start running a business. And I'm like, oh, tricky advice, especially because they are clear on theirs. So they obviously have a different agenda. They're trying to get you past that because they want you to be thinking about something else. There's a lot of different advice out there. You can listen to whatever you decide is true for you. I'm a very much an upfront, truth-saying person. It's one of my many qualities, maybe a fault at times because I can say the truth, and I'm sure it's got me into trouble before because I'll just say it. But that's just me. I do that. And I also think, well, I don't want to, beat around the bush with you. I don't want to pull the wool over your eyes. I would love to start talking to you about your brand and your marketing. But if you haven't done this piece, none of those conversations are relevant. So we get to those after we've done this piece first. There's so much in it. I love brand strategy. I love talking messaging. That's something I get my hands and teeth into all the time. And your business can have so much more just power, clarity, impact. If you want to help more people, the best way you can do that is by getting known. Be known for something. And this is how you get known for something, is by being specific. So here is your starting point. When you know that, then you can set your direction. Okay, that's it from me today. Please hit that subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you here with us on She's Business podcast, listening in each week, and maybe you'd love to be a guest. I do have a guest application process. You can find that in the show notes as well. So please apply if you're thinking you'd like to join me for a conversation one of these days and share your knowledge and expertise. I always love to hear from others and to share and help you to reach out to bigger audiences with your voice as well. So thank you. I'll be back again next week. Bye for now.